What's up, dude dogs? Rough.
We're back. Another week of the worst year of our lives. I'm Daniel.
I'm Kelly. I'm Drew.
I'm Scott.
We got a
and
we got a special guest in the house tonight.
I'm Shane.
Veteran podcaster.
Veteran podcast listener.
Veteran podcast listener. And you've been on half an hour of one other podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a year-end.
2016 year-end awards.
We're back with another episode of Nitro. It is April 17th of the Lord's year 2000. We are live from Rockford, Illinois. We've got a house of just over 3,000 paid, over 1,000 comps.
Pretty good.
It's WCW in 2000. And it's the second week of the Russo-Bischoff era. And I gotta say, this week was a lot easier to watch than the first week.
Besides the opening promo.
Besides the opening promo.
Too much.
Actually, when I loaded this up on the network, I very quickly noted that the first little dot of where the first match was easily a third of the way into the show.
Yeah.
And so that kind of spelled our doom, that we were in for a long opening promo. That opening promo was a part of the invited guests only party, as it was referred to multiple times by Tony Schiavone.
A thing introduced at the beginning, quickly forgotten about, seems to be a trend for the last two shows.
Did lead to a couple good segments, however, involving some of the non-invited guests barging their way into the party. So we got balloons and confetti. It's a celebration.
It was a lot of balloons and confetti. I joked that was their budget for the year 2000.
Yeah, I forgot this fucking thing squeaks.
Damn it, Al Green.
It's stemming from last night, which was Spring Stampede, where all of the new blood won the titles, save for Terry Funk.
Terry Funk winning
who won the hardcore title. But we've got Russo out with the new tag champions.
Normally, we run down the... If there's been a pay-per-view, we normally run down the results.
We're not
doing it because there were 14 matches.
Yeah.
Here's the champions.
Yes.
Jarrett's the world.
Yes.
Steiner's the U.S.
Yes.
Bagwell and Douglas are the tag.
Yes.
Candido's the cruiser.
Yes.
Funk's the hardcore. Is that it?
That's it.
We're good.
Yes.
Done. It's all you fucking need. And Chronic debuted.
Yeah. Chronic debuted on the pay-per-view last night, and they debuted on Nitro tonight. And spoilers,
Top 5.
They may be in the top 5 after the end of tonight. So Russo's out. Everyone with their championships. They're accompanied by Riot Squad, who do play a factor later on.
Hold on. So, like the Riot Squad, like Ruby Riot.
That's very topical.
Ruby Riot, a second girl, and a third girl. Couldn't tell you the other two.
I like that it took Scott making bad current WWE references to get Drew off of his phone and actually participate in this podcast.
We got it. One
Kelly's watching wrestling on his phone.
I was going to say one more and I'll get Kelly off.
There you go.
Because I'm just letting you guys... You're already doing the thing, so when I get my...
Please don't clip me saying I'll get Kelly off.
It would fit nicely with all of the gay stuff said in WCW in 2000.
This show's fucking gay.
Yeah, WCW is either really ahead of its time when it comes to like issues of sexuality and gender, or it's just
it is truly
or it's really of its time.
It's truly the moonlight of 2000 wrestling.
So Russo cuts a promo while all the balloons that fell from the sky are being popped.
Yeah, because bro.
Refers to some of the Millionaire Club members as Slick Dick and the Not So Big Package.
Got him.
Yeah.
Small penis humiliation humor there.
I don't remember Slick Dick. Maybe that gets...
Oh, no, he said Slick Dick.
Maybe that gets somebody off.
Yeah. You big an SPH, Scott?
Is that a thing?
Yes.
That's a category?
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
Google it.
Well, I'm
right now.
I'm already 2/3 of that thing. I just need the humiliation, and I'm good to go.
So, New World Champion Jeff Jarrett comes out to his own entrance, music, etc. Sets up just randomly that he's going to give DDP, I guess, a rematch.
Yes.
At Slamboree.
In a triple cage, baby.
In the triple cage from recently released feature film Ready to Rumble.
Yes.
Nominated.
I don't think that happened.
It was nominated for Achievement in Cinematography.
I doubt it did get a Razzie, but look up the Razzies for me. 2001 Razzies. Then we get Bischoff out with Kimberly, who is...
Who turned.
They're cucking DDP.
Hard.
Hard. That's like the theme of this show.
Hard cucking.
Also, Fat Bischoff.
Yeah, fattest he's ever been.
Yeah.
Like, including any time up to now.
Yeah.
Because I've always pictured him as like a fairly like thin, like average build guy.
I mean, he was into martial arts.
Yeah,
he's an athletic
Karate man.
He's real chunky here.
So DDP shows up outside. Like, we can still hear the promo going on. We see him outside confronting security.
Yeah.
He jumps the security, which are a bunch of indie guys, including, who was the guy you guys referenced?
we saw Cassidy Riley.
I don't know who that is. Was he a TNA guy?
He's in TNA.
Oh, okay.
He's a power plant guy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
He
Maybe the
gets
finest
jumped.
wrestler to come out of the power plant.
There was definitely
Chris
Chris Harris.
another security guy who showed up into the frame last out of all the security guys.
Only security guy not in shape.
Yes. Waved his hands frantically at his sides
Took a knee in the guts.
and then got thrown into like some trash,
was great.
basically.
You can't describe it. You have to physically see
Yeah,
it.
you need to see it.
It's a real gifable moment.
Yeah, if you go back and watch anything, watch that.
You think gifable is going to make Merriam-Webster's 2018 Words of the Year? Seems like a good.
Maybe not 20, but eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then DDP has a pretty big set of balls on him. He just kind of or it appears that way at least.
Sure, yeah.
Comes down to the ring, gets in with all the New Blood guys, and just takes them
Starts
all
kicking
on.
ass. Candido takes a sweet ass bump.
And then the Riot Squad, who previously accompanied the New Blood, take off their helmets.
And it's Ruby Riot,
Sort of.
Mandy Rose.
she's on Raw.
Damn it! So no, that's on Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan.
There
We
you
did
go.
it, guys. We will see you next week. We figured out who the Riot Squad are.
Spelling's different, though.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Didn't used to be.
No.
They added the T when she got called up.
There you go.
Submission sorority.
Submission sorority.
That sounds like a dope ultimate surrender type.
It was.
It is.
But it was also a stable name that they changed after a week
Oh.
after they found out it was the other thing.
Did we reference this last week?
We did talk about it. How does this keep
I brought
happening?
it up at the Royal Rumble too, and then you gave me.
Oh,
the
maybe
same
it was that. It was
Oh,
that.
okay,
I think that's what
It was probably at the
Yeah,
Rumble.
we
How do we keep talking about submission sorority?
It's hot as fuck.
It is hot as fuck.
Anyways, as Kelly was alluding to, like Flair initially doesn't take his helmet off,
It's
but
just
it's
some old man hitting.
Flair has to take his helmet off last because he's important.
it's very obvious that it's Flair, though.
He moved. Not a lot of people move like Flair.
So after that, the Millionaires Club. So that's the other thing. Have they officially been called the Millionaires Club?
By the commentators, not by themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I saw signs in the crowd with
Yeah.
it. Okay. We get Bischoff and Vinnie Rue in the locker room dressing down all the young baby faces.
Yeah,
basically.
faces who aren't part of the big.
They're
New
not part of the
Blood
Millionaires
thing.
Club. But they're not
Yeah.
part of the New Blood either.
Right. They're too young. Yeah, it's a real torn between.
They're
two
too young
lovers.
to be the Millionaires.
Yeah.
But they're too good to be New Blood.
Yeah.
So
Too young for the job I want, too good for the job I got. Some DJ Quick for you right there.
great.
Yeah.
So they all kind of leave. The leader of this group is Booker T. He comes back into the picture later.
It's a weird group too, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
Real ragtag.
Booker
Booker-
T, Jerry Flynn, Hugh Morris, Chavo Guerrero,
Lash LaRue.
Lash LaRue. Yeah.
There's might be one more.
Yeah, it was L's.
Oh yeah.
We're doing Lash's hand.
Yeah, and he had his
Oh, he's
Yeah,
got
his side
yeah, the L sideburn.
the little
mutton chops that were L's. Yeah. So then the security who got jumped by DDP quit. And then
Great.
maybe the highlight of the show, Bischoff is sitting there upset.
Yeah.
He's saying, "Get Mike Awesome out there to kick DDP's ass," and then the phone doesn't ring.
He picks it
He
up.
just picks it up.
And then in the most piped-in audio you've ever heard, when it's louder than Bischoff was talking.
Yes, it's
Hogan.
it's Hulk Hogan saying, "I'll be kicking your ass in 5 minutes,
brother.
There you
Great phone threat.
Yes, real good.
I'm calling you tomorrow and saying I'm going to kick your ass in 5
I'm going to
minutes.
put it over speaker and play it for everyone who's
Yeah.
in my general vicinity.
Bam Bam was the other guy.
Bam Bam, good call.
Yeah.
Good call.
Who
Only
could be
literally
an old
because
guy?
I'm reading
He's
it off
been
the screen behind you.
he's been working since '87.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, as we discussed while we were watching this, there's a ton of guys in
The New Blood.
The New Blood.
Who've been wrestling longer than DDP.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
Like
older.
Jeff Jarrett,
Because DDP
Shane
started
Douglas,
wrestling when he was 47.
Buff Bagwell. Yeah. First match, we have
we made it!
the perfect one, Sean Stasiak versus Kurt Hennig.
We sort of found out what Stasiak's finisher was this time.
We did?
Because we didn't last show.
Correct, because he fucked it up real bad.
Yeah. It looked like shit this time, too.
Yes, it did. Well,
I
that
guess
was more on Kurt Hennig taking it poorly.
It looked like Hennig reversed it.
Yes. We got Miss Hancock out taking notes. I guess she has nothing to do with Lenny and Idol or Lenny and Rave.
They're
or
done.
Lane and Rave. We have what I hope becomes a trend, and I'm sure Kelly hopes this becomes a trend as well.
That fucking pig.
Kurt Hennig just seemingly hazing Mark Madden for the hell of it.
He's a river.
Just they're brawling outside. He grabs a bottle of water and just douses.
Yeah.
In his crotch area, all over his lap.
Which reminds me, I hope he listens to the show. I don't know if he does, but I'm going to call
Mark
him
Madden?
anyways. No. Our good friend Mike Wild, the one time that he came to the Paramount with us, where they have the mandatory drink you have to buy, and so he bought the
Paramount's a
bottle.
strip club, by the way.
Yeah, Paramount's a strip club in Westminster.
Bad strip club.
The best strip club. He bought a bottle of water, which was $5.
Because you have to buy a drink.
Yes. Was sitting front row. A stripper put on a T-shirt and then attempted to do a sexy wet T-shirt deal.
Yeah.
Grabbed Mike's bottle of water, went to dump it down her front, completely missed her shirt, and just dumped it from the stage straight into his lap.
Oh my
Not intentionally, just... Yeah.
Yeah, which actually was a real silver lining because he had already come in his pants and now he had an excuse for his pants.
There you go. Hope you're doing well, Mike. This had a great Hennig doing a real athletic spot. He countered a back body drop by cartwheeling away from it.
But nowhere near
He didn't cartwheel past
the
it.
attempt at the back body drop.
Yes. Dude, you're being a real
It's
pig.
like if you whip someone in the ropes and they're coming at you, he does a cartwheel but doesn't go past you, just
Sideways.
a sideways cartwheel,
It was great.
and then runs at you, and then he took a clothesline.
Yeah.
Speaking of clotheslines, I mean, this is just wrestling in the 2000s. It's a series of hitting moves that get no-sold, and then you get hit with things that get no-sold.
Yeah, we haven't seen a transition yet.
No, and if there ever is a transition, it's a low blow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which there's many of those on this show tonight. Ugly ref bump.
Yep.
Because
Stasiak was supposed to duck a line and hit the ref, but he didn't. So Hennig threw high.
Yes.
Because he was expecting a duck.
Yes.
So he glanced him in the forehead and then sort of did the same thing to the ref.
To Charles Robinson. Yeah.
It was great.
Hennig gets a perfect plex, gets a visual pinfall.
Sorry about that brief gap. I get a lot of calls from steakhouses, and I guess when you get a call, it interrupts the recording on the phone. But as we were discussing, Hennig hit the perfect press, got a visual pinfall, and continuing from there.
So at that point, Stasiak no-sells it, grabs brass knucks, hits Hennig with the brass knucks.
Ref gets better.
Goes for his finish. We finally see what it is. It's a hideous F5.
It's like a fireman's carry into a falling forward and just like sort of face buster. Just like he threw him in front of him.
Yeah.
It was sort of to the side.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that moves in SmackDown 2. Know your role?
Yeah. Shut your mouth.
No, Shut Your Mouth was 3, I believe.
Here
I
comes
see.
Here comes
the Pain's 4. I know that.
Yeah,
That's the last good game in the franchise.
I've never had one.
Anyways,
There's a lot of things you've never had.
at which point... Wow. Threat and a half. At which
Threat?
point...
Statement.
You will never have.
At this point, match is over. Stasiak won. Then we cut to the Road Warrior, Hulk Hogan, showing up.
Black vest, black pants,
Black bandana.
but just
Like
the
Rambler
fin
style.
around the head, not covering any baldness.
No.
Fingerless gloves.
Fingerless gloves.
Way worse.
Yeah, it somehow highlighted the baldness.
He dresses down some police officers, basically,
Yeah.
who step aside to let him in
Hulk Hogan.
as random onlookers cheer him on.
Yeah, a couple of the cops were black, so we were wondering if Black Lives Matter or Blue Lives Matter was going to win out.
I see.
But we never got to find out,
No.
unfortunately.
I mean, orange lives, I guess, in this.
Orange lives, yeah. Areola-colored lives matter.
So he comes in. All the while that this is going on, Stasiak is still beating up Hennig.
Yeah, for a long time.
Wow.
And then Hogan comes in, shit cans him. We get a Hogan promo. He talks about and shoots down various criticisms of him.
Yeah, but did admit he had lost half a step.
Yes. It was like,
Hulk Hogan lost a step. Well, I tell you something, brother. I only lost half a step.
like, they're saying that Hulk Hogan's too old now, but everyone else is aging the same pace that I'm aging.
They say
all human beings.
The aging process, cells grow, cells die. Let me tell you about meiosis, brother.
Drops his shoot name, because that's cool. Talks about Terry Bollea, but not about his dick size.
Terry Bollea, my dick now got smaller.
When he referred to himself as Terry Bollea, did his dick shrink 3 inches as he transitioned from Hogan to Bollea?
Quite possible. He calls out Kidman based off of last week's confrontation. Kidman
responds with a pre-taped promo.
Yes, from a parking lot or a basement or something. You see Kidman and Tori, who I guess Tori's now a heel as well.
Yeah,
by default.
By proxy.
And then, because I don't think she was on the show last week.
No. It was a sexually transmitted heel turn.
There you go. Bischoff just ominously standing by the Hummer in the background.
In the background.
Because he's cucking also Billy Kidman.
Hard cucking.
Yeah. So then, thus begins the theme of this show. That was the theme from last week's show of Hogan searching the vast wasteland of the arena,
shambling aimlessly throughout the entire arena with no shirt.
Yes.
At least he wasn't bleeding this time.
Last week he had a shirt, but he was bleeding. I feel like this is a step up. Even though it was very obvious that Kidman was inside somewhere.
Yeah.
The next shot we see is of
Parking
Hogan
lot.
in the parking lot, a confused old man looking for Kidman.
Brother, where am I, brother?
And if you're someone who's not aware of what's happening at this arena, and you see that, you see an old man with no shirt, just stumbling around a parking lot, going, "Where are you? Where are you, Kidman? Where are you?" Like, wouldn't you not call the police?
Yeah. I'm sure, if there's a senior citizens home nearby.
Yeah. Is there like an old person version of a dog catcher? Because that.
Sure. Maybe you could be the first one. There you go. Employment opportunities. We get a Jeff Jarrett promo, talks about how there's going to be an open contract on his locker room door tonight, and if anyone wants to step up and sign it, they can. He also refers to Mean Gene Okerlund as a Jurassic slap-ass.
We liked it.
It was cute.
we can't lie.
Speaking of things we liked, match number 2 for the hardcore title. Terry Funk versus The Wall.
Might be the second best match of 2000. I think 3 Count Young Dragons keeps it so far.
Yeah.
Because that was nothing but dives.
Yes. This was nothing but, unsafe
nothing
spots.
but hardcore shit.
Yeah.
I think it's the second best match of 2000.
There's really only one. Well, I guess there may be 2 things to talk about, but one thing in particular.
There's a lot of chair shots.
Yeah.
There's a low blow by Terry Funk, which is the only technically legal low blow on the show, although none of the other ones cause DQs.
Nope.
I feel like this is the obvious thing that we're being referred to. At some point, Terry has hit the wall with, I counted 7 chair shots by this point.
Yeah.
He goes up for an Art Harm moonsault.
Yeah.
And
Top to floor.
Top to floor.
And we called it from a mile away.
The Wall is standing, waiting to catch him, 1 city block away from the corner. We are all screaming at him, "Get in tight!"
Yes.
Terry's not going to overshoot you, bro.
Guess what happened?
Terry didn't overshoot him.
Yeah.
Terry caught him with his shins, and then hit his face on the ground, and died, and his soul left his body.
Yes. At which point, this gets real mean. The Wall drags him to the aisleway where he sandwiches him between 2 guardrails.
Yeah.
And just slams
There's a
the
convenient
guardrail.
extra guardrail there for this sandwich.
Yeah. They brawl back to the booth where the DJ table of one DJ ran.
But Terry's starting to fight back, and he's throwing some potatoes.
Oh, yeah, he does throw
At one
some...
point, he yells at him, and it gets bleeped out.
Yeah, that's right.
I wonder what he said. The Wall...
N-word.
Something about his back. Because he gave him a shot right in the back with a chair, and then he yelled
"Oh yeah,
my back, you beep!" And then just starts throwing potatoes.
Fair enough. The Wall slams his head into the go-go cages, and
so
real
Really
hard. And then randomly they kind of brawl up next to
I don't know
something.
who booked this fan. It really didn't seem like it was supposed to happen because it was so weird. But they brawl a little further back towards the stage. 2 tables fall on them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody did it.
No.
And then Funk positions one of the tables just lying on top of wall, does a little a 56-year-old man's foot stomp onto it,
Yeah.
pins him.
Yep.
And then the wall no-sells it and gets up and walks away.
He gets up immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. There's about 8 notes coming up before the next match.
Fuck.
This is very much a Vince Russo television show, and
Well, you know what? It was moving. Snap, snap,
lots
snap,
of
snap,
cutaways, and I mean it's ADD television. Chronic debut.
Yeah.
They confront Russo. They demand a tag title shot because I guess they helped Bagwell
I think so.
and Douglas win the night before. Russo says, "Yeah, you'll get a tag title shot,
But later.
but
Only when I
not
say
tonight."
so.
Then we see Jeff Jarrett's open contract on his locker room door. It gets signed, but it's a POV contract signing.
And the hand is sort of blocking that, but it did look like it started with a capital S.
Yes, which was a clue because the person who signed it does in fact have a name that starts with a capital S.
Sick boy.
Sick Boy, Scotty Riggs.
Sergeant Craig Pittman.
Yes.
Sergeant Craig
Stokely
Pepper.
Hathaway.
Stokely Hathaway.
Second time.
My next note, I don't even remember this segment. DDP threatens to out-cuck Bischoff.
Yeah, because
There's a lot of ass.
he was like talking about how Bischoff got into his personal life and how he's coming for him. Like Hogan better find him before he does. And he's like, and I
Turn
said
into
that
ass.
he was gonna cuck his dad.
Yeah.
Then we
You cuck me, I cuck your dad. You bring a knife, we bring a gun.
Then we see some VIPs sitting in the front row. It's the owners of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah.
We're in Rockford, Illinois, which is nearby, but it's
Yeah.
not where the Blackhawks play.
No, they don't play there, but...
But they are sitting with noted NHL enforcer Bob Probert, noted
Dead
ghost Bob Probert.
Noted dead man.
Then
To be clear, he wasn't dead then.
No.
They didn't, like, Weekend at Bernie's Bob Roberts'
He was
corpse.
moving like he was dead.
He was moving like he was dead, but...
then we get another cut to the back where we have a brawl between Chronic and the Harris brothers.
Oh no, because the Paisans or the Mamelukes, whatever the fuck,
Well,
came out for the match.
They come out. Yeah, the Mamelukes come out for the match. Hard cut to Chronic and the Harris Bros in the back, which Shane delightfully described how?
As Antifa versus the alt-right.
Yes!
Basically. That's about it.
I wish Antifa was a thing then, because, like, Chronic would be awesome Antifa, dude.
But it would just be a bunch of, like, skinny white kids
Yeah.
with, like, masks on and bats. It wouldn't be, like, juiced up.
No,
80s
they're the
wrestlers.
wrong shape for Antifa.
No, definitely.
So Chronic then
They
come
do
out.
have the right hair.
Yes. They come out and confront the Mamelukes, and I just wrote Chronic are the best.
Kick their asses!
They make a strong debut in our top 5.
Yeah. Wrath. Brian Clark does a sweet meltdown.
Yeah. They do a couple high times, one
Yeah.
better than the other.
Oh, Johnny the Bull's
Set up for the...
how he got into, like, it was sort of...
It's like a Uranage.
Yeah, he took the death sentence, which is the ironic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it was just like
Run to the
jump to the
corner,
top.
no hands, top rope springboard, 180 jump on the top rope, go for a weird double axe handle, get awkwardly caught, death sentence.
Yeah. Chronic are the best. They threaten to beat up everyone with a bunch of stupid sentences having the word chronic in them, like they're in for chronic pain and
Chronic Nightmare.
yeah, like chronic pain's the only one that really makes
Yeah,
sense.
none of the others were things.
They also refer to all the other competition as sissies at a weenie roast.
Yeah.
Not sure what that means.
It's weird.
Very topical.
Probably
at the
gay.
time, Yeah.
It's WCW in 2000. Speaking of WCW in 2000, we got Vampiro out for a promo.
Not great.
No, real bad.
And the lighting kept flashing between like green and red.
Yeah.
Like, it
It was Christmas.
Calls out Sting, says Sting knows nothing about pain. When he dragged Sting underneath the ring, Sting knows what happened under there, but
Nobody else knows.
no one else does. So
Forced blowjob.
pack that fudge. I feel you tense at my evil blowjob.
Sting repels from the ceiling, which none of us remembered happening post Owen Hart.
Yeah, but here we are.
But here we are,
a year later.
and then
And hard, too.
Yeah, fat. He came. Yeah, he came in hot.
Yeah, and then he basically cut a promo on Vampiro while simultaneously beating him with a bat.
Yeah.
It was like, say a catchy line, hit him with a bat.
Yeah,
And
that's a power move.
yeah. That's
to promo while you're kicking a guy's ass.
Gave him the Scorpion Death Drop.
Almost
and then,
totally blew it.
Yeah, he tripped over his own bat.
Yeah.
These guys are feuding for the next few months, if I recall. I'm
Even
pretty
though
sure
they were tag partners 2 shows ago.
Yes, I'm pretty
And
sure.
best friends.
And best friends.
We're in for 3 months of blood falling from the ceiling because Vince Russo loves paint and blood and
paint falling and then Human Torch.
Yes. More Hogan looking for Kidman. This time he's actually inside.
Where am I?
Jeff Jarrett and Russo talking backstage.
Jeff Jarrett can't believe who signed the contract, basically.
Yeah, basically. More of that. Do we have a match finally? Finally, we have a match.
We did it.
This one's pretty good. DDP versus Mike Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote Awesome debuts and has a top 5 worthy performance.
Yeah, I agree.
And by that I mean he just hits a bunch of his cool spots from ECW, which we're marks for. So
like no hand springboard plancha, pretty good.
Hits a sick release German suplex on Canyon.
Canyon runs in. Oh, someone ran in on this match, by the way, guys.
Yeah,
Can
surprise.
you believe it?
WCW in 2000.
There were no
there was no.
Did anyone win a match on the show?
Here's the thing, too. Like,
no,
right?
During that match,
0 for 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
During that match, DDP started hitting Awesome with a chair.
That's right.
Ref is calling for the bell. The bell is not ringing.
Yes.
And the bell only starts ringing when Canyon gets in the ring.
Yes.
What does and doesn't
count
cause a DQ is very nebulous.
The next match has got a real weird DQ in it, but we'll get to that in a second. Awesome goes to powerbomb Canyon through the table that he sets up in the ring. Kevin Nash does the slowest run-in ever.
Yeah.
And then powerbombs Awesome through the table.
Yep. Through the edge of the table.
Yeah. Yes.
Not centered at all.
And then, Awesome, Canyon, and DDP just are stoked to be alive, basically.
Yep. Can't wait for that 6-inch height difference Battle of the Giants.
It's coming. We got Russo talking off camera to the challenger who signed the contract.
Yep.
Who starts with an S. Sting. We didn't mention Sting, but that was one we did mention during... Sid. Sid's not on this show, so spoilers, guys. It's not Sid.
Yeah. He's out of the top 5.
He is out of the top 5, probably.
Yeah.
What have you done for me lately?
Exactly.
Same thing. What's his face?
Norman. Yeah. We're a fickle bunch.
I want Norman and Sid in my top 5.
Yeah. Me too, but we can't do it.
A Norman and Sidless top 5 is not a world I want to live in.
No, I'm with you.
That being said, the show is actually an easy watch, I thought. But
Again,
regardless of those two guys not being in it. We've got Douglas and I wrote Buff as Pump. I don't know what.
Not Big Papa Pump?
No,
Pump.
Yeah, Pump.
Buff and
Pump Bagwell.
They're doing a promo.
Marcus Pump Bagwell.
He's Pump. He's
Lil
the Stump.
Pump.
He's
Gucci
the
gang,
Stump.
Gucci gang. What?
Thanks for making rap reference I don't get.
Grammy winner.
Really?
I don't think so.
He believed you.
Wouldn't surprise me. You could have told me that he won for best rock record, and I believe you.
Sounds right.
The way the Grammys go nowadays.
I think Bruno Mars won everything this year.
He legitimately did.
Stop singing Tucci Gang. I know how much you love Stanley Tucci.
So they're cutting a promo. They're cut off by an incoherent Lex Luger. This is where we noted that they both just kept threatening each other back and forth using the word ass. Mm-hmm. I wrote that 2000 WCW equals gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but still, it's a lot of threatening to anally attack people. We got, Tank Abbott. Still in the top 5. Still top 5. Maybe the top of the top 5.
Until he opens his mouth.
Horrible promo.
Not a good
He's
promo.
Just a horrible promo.
But such a good physical threat.
Yeah.
And Drew and I agreed he is both of our ideal wrestling builds.
Yeah. There you go. Strive for that 2010. Guys, just strive for that 2018 Tank Abbott build.
I think I got that. I'm striving for 2000.
Fair enough. So he threatens until Goldberg comes back that he's just going to keep beating asses.
Yeah. Goldberg pretty sure still in the hospital.
Probably. Initially looks like he's going to beat up Mark Madden again.
I wish.
Yeah.
If only.
Instead, he goes after the owner of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God!
How he... So, they're sitting behind the guardrail.
Yes.
So, he's like, you! He points at him. And he grabs him by the suit.
Drags him front first over the guardrail and ends up, I'm going to assume accidentally...
In pile driver.
In a pile driver position.
In pile driver position.
Yes.
Which I think he considers for a minute.
Yes.
And is like, that could be bad.
Yes.
So then he I was going to say runs. He walks with him in pile driver position to the apron and sort of jams him against the apron.
Yeah. And
but when he got him in pile driver position, we all lost our minds.
We thought he was going to pile drive a man who's not a trained wrestler.
No. Also, he's
not
a trained wrestler. Let's keep that in mind.
Poor impulse control.
He took out a knife on a pay-per-view.
I think he's cutting his beard.
My favorite. We should watch that afterwards.
Yes.
You've watched that so many times.
I legitimately.
You've watched that more than Johnny the Bull's Eureka.
I've had the network for like 2 years now, and I've watched that more than anything.
Is that censored on the network?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Because
We'll
on
watch
the
it.
commercial release, they definitely.
I think they cut it, right?
Yeah. I mean, they cut away, but you see some of it still.
Yeah.
That and that Mulkey bump are the two things I want. We're going to watch that too. Bob Probert makes the save, guys. Sorry. To make it. Bob Probert makes the save. I guess we're getting Probert and Tank next week, maybe?
Hope so.
Or maybe this is a one-off. I don't know.
Who's to say?
I want Probert and Tank.
What happens, Drew?
He's still actively playing at this point, so I can't imagine that they would let
Yeah,
him.
but it's after the season's over if they didn't go to the playoffs.
I don't know, did Chicago make
Blackhawks
the
in
playoffs?
2000? No way they made the
they're not.
playoffs.
Nah, probably not.
Is this... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, was Chelios still around at that point?
Ooh.
Chelios was around, but
He wasn't
not on
playing for the Blackhawks.
He was on Detroit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was when Detroit were real good. Yeah, and
Detroit.
he was still good too, even though he was older.
He played until he
Les
was
Rouges.
47, so...
What's Red Wings? What's Wings?
I don't know.
You're French!
Fuck Yamada. No, I don't know, man.
More Hogan Wandering.
Yep.
Maybe the last... No, second to last Hogan Wandering. Match 4. Shane Douglas versus Lex Luger. Guess what, guys? It's another DQ finish. But a weird DQ finish.
Super weird.
New Jersey one.
Well, yeah.
The devil!
Yeah. Oh, that was the trap.
Yeah.
Right? Ugh.
Oh,
Traps are gay.
Bill Lamorello made the game the way...
That's why everyone's listening to this podcast, for us to talk about retro hockey, right, guys?
We had an episode
2 months ago.
2 months ago or 6 weeks ago or something that featured Drew's minor league hockey corner because of
It's Norman always wearing minor league hockey jerseys because they run in nothing but minor league hockey.
Exactly, they're not running in NHL venues.
No, they're running in Worcester and Tulsa.
Welcome to Worcester.
Rockford was an IHL team at the time. Now they're an AHL team.
Well, if he was on the show,
I promised in that episode it was the first and last installment of Drew's minor league hockey corner. I will not have it.
See, so what happened was...
Can we talk about Rockford 2000?
We could actually absolutely talk about local bad indie wrestler from 15 years ago, Rockford 2000.
we were probably seeing Rockford when this show was
When this
going
show,
on.
yeah.
Yeah,
Could've been.
2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was real bad, guys. Did appear on an episode of Fox television program Dark Angel.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, he did. He played like a guy in a junkyard, but he did have a line of dialogue.
Pretty good.
I remember watching
Featured extra.
the only episode of Dark Angel I've ever seen in my life.
Did I watch that show? I might have watched it.
Yeah. Anyways, this match is 90% Luger.
Jessica Alba?
Jessica Alba, yes. Shane gets heat for 20 seconds, and I will tell you how he gets the heat. He does an up and over that's real labored. He hits a leg sweep where he floats right over into
Into a
lateral
choke.
press, and then just chokes him.
Yeah.
And then Luger's back on offense. At which point, Buff Bagwell does a run-in.
With
With
music
full
and
entrance and pyro.
Shane cuts off Luger with a low blow.
That Shane, not this Shane.
Yes. No. There's no disqualification.
Right.
Then Shane drags him outside to brawl with him.
This Shane, not that Shane.
Correct. So Shane, tell us about the time you held Lex Luger while a man dressed up as Sting in the front row randomly goes, yeah, I'm going to hit him with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
Which I secretly hope leads to more fans showing up at Nitro in the oncoming weeks dressed as Sting
Full
with
Sting
baseball
cosplay.
bats attacking
And
wrestlers.
hitting wrestlers,
Yes. But no, it's Ric Flair.
Still not a DQ.
Correct.
Yeah.
Still not DQ. He hits Shane with it. Jumps the guardrail. It's only after Flair gets in the ring, and
Yeah.
again, we can tell it's Flair, but it's not until he's taken off his mask.
Big reveal.
Now it's a DQ.
Then the DQ.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. That was the segment.
Good.
They kind of get pulled apart, I guess.
We did it.
Finally, we get the payoff for Hogan wandering the vast wasteland of Rockford, Illinois. He finds the Hummer and Kidman in the basement. He attacks Kidman. Tori with a 2x4 attempts to make the save.
Will yell, you stupid bitch.
Hogan,
Goes to killer.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
if
Noted good guy, Hulk Hogan.
Noted baby face.
yes.
This show is full of like sexual violence, like threatened threats of sexual violence, attempted domestic assault. Like it's
all the hits.
It's top shelf stuff.
Yeah. This would not fly in 2018. Anyways, Kidman makes the save, but then gets his ass kicked, gets press slammed into a dumpster.
Gorilla presses him into a very high dumpster.
At which point we get a very arty over the shoulder
shot
from Fat Eric Bischoff, who's next to the Hummer. Hogan sees him, goes to chase him. Eric tries to get away in the Hummer.
Eric has a horror movie moment where his car won't
the
start.
Hummer stalls, so he just runs away.
As we said, great advertisement for Hummers.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes these don't start.
But then Hogan has the magic touch, and the Hummer just randomly starts for him. He rams it into the dumpster multiple times.
Murders Billy Kidman.
And then drives off up the ramp to chase after Bischoff.
Yeah, and presumably run him over as well.
Yes. We get back. Kidman is getting stretchered out. Tori is looking sad and concerned and is kind of like pacing around like, I don't know.
Yeah.
She's very frenetic.
Her curled hair that she had at the beginning of the show, which I'm not a fan of, has become somewhat uncurled by now, and I'm liking it more. Now it's just sort of wavy.
Fair. We've got our main event. Jeff Jarrett versus the man who signed the contract. I don't think it was at this point, or it was at this point, that we finally came up like, oh, maybe it's Scott Steiner. We saw an S.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make any sense.
Because they're
on the same team.
Same team. He's the U.S. champion.
Yeah, they're all heels in the New Blood.
Yeah.
But then they play Steinerized, his old babyface music.
Yeah, old babyface tag team Steiner's music.
And sure enough, it's Scott Steiner.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, it's going to be a schmoz.
I was asking, is it too early to do another finger poke of doom?
It's been 15 months since
everyone
the last
agreed,
one.
no, it was not too early to do one of those again.
We don't remember it happening,
No,
but I don't remember a lot of 2000s.
fucking anything from this.
But no, we just get Steiner getting heat.
Yes, they have a match.
Yeah, they have a match. It's two heels having a match.
Yeah.
Jarrett,
Crowd sort of makes Steiner the face.
I don't
think
think anyone's the face. Jarrett kind of acts the role of the face.
Yeah, Jarrett kind of works face.
Jarrett makes a comeback and does like noted babyface Jeff Jarrett move across body.
Yeah, flying cross body.
He doesn't do that as a heel. As they're chanting, Jarrett sucks.
Yes.
Yeah, the fans hate this.
It's an odd dynamic.
We have dueling low blow transitions because why not?
Yeah, not DQs.
The last of which leads, not DQs. Nick Patrick just watches them both.
Yeah. By the way, we should make a point. Every low blow in these other like not hardcore matches, just regular matches, every single low blow is right in front of the ref. It's not like distracted ref. Oh, I'll do a low blow. No, the hey ref, check this out.
Yeah. WCW in 2000 sucks.
It's bad.
It's real bad. Steiner gets on the recliner. Mm-hmm. And by that I don't mean he just sits in the chair.
Which is a sentence you can probably say about him now.
You could say probably gets in the recliner.
After a long shift at Shoney's.
Yes. We should all
go to Shoney's?
Yeah, we should take a field trip.
That'd be so cool.
Steiner Shoney's?
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, I don't mean any old Shoney's.
Obviously. Steiner Shoney's.
Go to Georgia.
Yep.
Go to the Steiner Shoney's.
Love it.
Everyone who listens to this podcast, join us. We're all going.
We're gonna do a wrestling food trip of Atlanta. We're gonna go to Steiner Shoney's and we're going to Abdullah's house of ribs and Chinese
out of
food,
business,
which is long since out of business.
My friend Simon did go to it once though.
Was it good?
He said it was pretty greasy, pretty gnarly.
Well, it's a house of ribs and Chinese food.
Yes.
Grease.
Yeah. Fair.
In Georgia.
In Georgia.
Booker T makes the save for for Jeff Jarrett. Mm-hmm. Axe kicks Steiner for a DQ.
Yeah.
With like dress shoes on. Yes, full suit.
Yeah, in his 2000s fashion.
Yep.
Big old baggy pants full of pleats.
From Leon's.
From the
Seattle. From
the Steve Harvey collection. Says you're welcome to Jarrett.
Yep.
But like angrily.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess he's going to try to appease Russo for the time being, but these two have a million matches in 2000.
Well, it was because earlier during that Bischoff segment, and Bischoff had said to him, "You'd better impress me by the end of the night."
Right. Yeah.
And
so
that was him impressing Bischoff.
Impressing him.
Even though Bischoff is currently being stalked by an insane old orange man.
Yeah, which is really cutting into his cucking time. So there's a lot of layers to this.
Which is this is where this leads, the final segment of the night.
Yeah.
More Hogan wandering. He chases Bischoff into an office, but it's kind of just a real makeshift.
It's the WCW hotline.
It literally looks like a Calcutta call center.
It does look like a call center.
Like there's a bunch of fax machines and
Yep.
shit. But I guess it was the locker room. It was just a weird locker room.
Business.
Bischoff's still worrying about business in the meantime. He gets chased by Hogan back into the ring in the arena, which I guess it's that same kind of horror movie cliche, but like, find a better place. Like, don't get cornered in the ring.
Classic mistake.
I guess.
Outside?
Get in a car, drive away.
His car doesn't work. We've established this. We've covered all bases. This is bulletproof.
The fucking starter's shot.
At which point, Hogan gets in there and just punts him in the dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
straight.
like, the copyright thing comes on the screen, so we think it's done.
Yes.
Then it goes, like, another 2 minutes.
Yes. We see Russo coming out. I don't know why, to maybe back up Bischoff, but, like, what the fuck is he going to do?
He's going to hit Hogan
Yeah,
with a bat.
and he get a bat. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course he would do that because
Yeah.
he's Vince Russo and he thinks he's fucking invincible.
Future world champion Vince Russo.
Don't remind
Hey,
me.
we get to see it.
from this point on in WCW, who holds more world titles, Vince Russo or Hulk Hogan? The answer may surprise you.
Yeah, and the Arquette one's coming up soon, too.
On a Thunder.
It's on the Thunder. We don't get to see it, but I think it's next week's Thunder, not this week's Thunder.
Is it? I thought it was in May. No, I guess it's
No,
before
the
Slam 3.
pay-per-view,
Yeah.
and that's first week of May. Yeah.
Oh, it's first. Okay, yeah. So it's real soon. It's got to be next week then.
Yeah. Anyways, as Russo's coming out, Bret Hart just pushes past him with the
Who
chair.
we thought we had maybe seen for the last time last week.
Yep. Gets in the ring, and then you kind of see him over the shoulder of Hogan and
Another
Bischoff.
arc shot.
Hogan turns around and sees him there, and he's sort of like, "Oh yeah, you're cool, Bret. Whatever.
come
Like,
get
just-
Bischoff,
Yeah,
brother."
whatever." And then we see Bret swing the chair,
Cut to black.
and it like literally cuts mid-swing.
Yeah.
Like it's actually a pretty
Good editing. Good
surprising,
job.
like WCW.
Good live editing.
You would think because they're all about cliffhangers, right?
Yeah.
They're all about like, oh, who signed the Jarrett contract? You got to stay tuned, right? Knowing WCW, I'm surprised we didn't just see who he hit.
Yeah, which was Hogan.
Yeah, spoilers. It was Hogan.
But we don't know if that's actually followed up on.
We don't know. We just read the Observer from that week. So
Yeah.
that was it.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of the better episodes, and that's saying something.
Easy-ish watch.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Who
All right.
knows if next week will be the same? Spoilers. It probably won't be.
Who knows? Maybe David Arquette will be the champion next time we talk. What a time to be alive.
Blech.
Bleh.